These two brand new Pokemon sets are dropping on the same day. And every single Unova region Pokemon gets its own illustration rare. Yeah, Pokemon hasn't pulled a move this bold in a long time. Today, we're diving into Black Bolt and White Flare, the first English dual release ever. And we're breaking down whether these packs deserve to be ripped or sealed. I'm Nicole, co-owner of Infinite Chaos TCG, an online Pokemon shop based in Los Angeles, created for collectors by collectors. Now, let's get into it. So first off, looking ahead, how might Black Bolt and White Flare perform as far as desirability and collectability? While no one has a functioning crystal ball, we can make informed speculation based on set themes, key cards, and past trends. Let's take a look at long-term collectability. The fact that these sets feature every Unova Pokemon with special art is huge for collectors. It essentially makes this a commemorative set for Gen 5, much like 151 for the Kanto region. Complete set collectors will eventually want to own the full array of Unova illustration rares, which could sustain demand for singles and sealed product over time. If in 5 years, people started feeling nostalgic for, say, Zorua and Zoroark, or Axew and Haxorus, this is a set they'll turn to because these Pokemon have memorable art cards in these sets. That bodes well for steady appreciation, especially for sealed boxes that contain packs from both sets. We saw something similar with Crown Zenith in 2023, and while it wasn't specifically tied to one generation, it did have a ton of art cards and is now considered a modern classic, with ETBs at nearly $150 right now. Black Bolt and White Flare could age similarly, especially given that it's the first English dual set, which gives it some historical significance, as well as a love letter to a specific generation. As far as key chase cards and value, the top chase cards will likely determine a lot of the buzz. If the rumored N special illustration rare does appear and happens to be gorgeous, that could easily be a $100 card raw, not to mention its PSA 10 value. The Zekrom and Reshiram Black-White Rare secret rares will almost certainly be sought after. In fact, I would gander to say that they're gonna hold significant value, being that they're unique arts and possibly short printed. For context, the last time we had something like this, think Gold Reshiram and Zekrom from Legendary Treasures, they became quite iconic. I'd say that a monochrome full art version in 2025 could be the new iconic variant. Historically, illustration rare cards of popular Pokemon do hold value if the art is exceptional. The sheer number of illustration rares means that many will be very affordable, but a few could break out. Maybe an especially cute one? Pikachu often fills that role, but Unova's Pikachu equivalent Emolga might have its own fan base. Or a legendary like Genesect if it gets stunning artwork. Keep in mind, with 156 IRs, this set will have something that appeals to everyone, which means that somebody somewhere will want every single card at some point. This is very healthy for long-term collectability. As for sealed product value, sealed products of special sets tend to appreciate well if the set is well loved. Since Black Bolt and White Flare is a one print run special expansion, once it's out of print, we don't expect a reissue outside of any initial reprints during the release year. ETBs, being the flagship product with the set's branding, could become prime collectibles. On top of that, sealed collectors will likely want one of each, which could drive the value of the pair sky high. We can recall a somewhat similar scenario, where the Japanese Black-White era launched with dual sets Black Collection and White Collection in 2010. These boxes are now super rare and super expensive as sealed products, partly due to nostalgia as well as being the first Gen 5 sets. Now, English is doing a dual set release for Gen 5's Throwback. A bit reverse, but the nostalgia factor is similar. In addition, special sets that celebrate a theme, say Generations for the 20th anniversary or Celebrations for the 25th anniversary, tend to hold value over time. The Unova region might not have the universal nostalgia of base set, but it does have a dedicated fan base that's growing, especially if Game Freak announces Black and White remakes, which would send new fans to discover these cards all over again. I do think these sets will hold solid long-term value. However, there may be some volatility early on as supply enters the market. The key is that this expansion is inherently limited in scope, being focused on Gen 5, but it's also broad in content given that there's so many cards, which means that this set will be a healthy addition to any collection. With all that said, there are some risks as not everything is guaranteed. So here are a couple cautionary points. If Pokemon overprints these sets into oblivion, then short-term value is definitely going to drop hard before it starts to grow. For example, if product continues to flood shelves well into 2026, then the rarity factor diminishes quite a bit and only the absolute top cards will hold their value. Also, with 800 plus total card variations, including all the different foils and parallels, completing the master set could feel extremely overwhelming, potentially discouraging some collectors who prefer smaller sets. And from an investor's angle, focusing on specific products such as sealed binder collections or graded chase cards could be wiser than trying to invest in the bulk of everything. We'll also have to wait and see exactly how competitive the cards are. If none of the new EXs or trainers are particularly playable, demand may stop with collectors. But if, say, that Ignition Energy or a trainer like Sharon does become a tournament staple, you can expect this to drive prices up, especially for singles in unpredictable ways. With what we know about the new black and white sets, should you open it or should you keep it sealed? Well, if you love the thrill of opening packs and chasing shiny cardboard, this set will definitely be a blast to rip. The pull rates aren't known yet, but with over 65 illustration rares per set, nearly every other pack could yield a fun art card. This makes opening these packs quite rewarding visually, even if you don't hit a chase card. Opening packs is one of only 2 ways to collect the massive spread of art rares, the other being buying and selling singles on the secondary market. So if completing the Unova art set is your goal, you're probably going to be ripping quite a few packs. With that said, a word of caution. Catching all 156 illustration rares and special illustration rares is going to cost a lot of money by ripping. Like a lot. It may be wiser to rip a certain amount for enjoyment and trade purposes, then buy or trade for the singles you're missing. That way, even if you do pull dupes, you can trade them for other cards and stop the cycle of dupe pulling. But ripping those first few sealed products is definitely going to be a lot of fun. On the other hand, if you're thinking about long-term investments or simply like collecting sealed products, then keeping some of these products sealed is still a smart move. As discussed, elite trainer boxes for each set are prime candidates to keep sealed as they have display value and historical significance. A pair of Black Bolt and White Flare ETBs, kept in mint condition of course, could appreciate nicely over the next couple of years. The Victini Illustration Collection box might be worth stashing away as well. Unique promo sets often become sought after if the included promos are never reprinted. In general, specialty sets have a solid track record for sealed investing. For instance, Hidden Fates products skyrocketed after a couple of years, as did the Shining Fates products, not to mention Crown Zenith, 151, you name it. While we can't guarantee the same thing will happen with these sets, Black Bolt and White Flare do have a lot going for them. If you have the funds, consider holding a case of ETBs or even a case of booster bundles, as the bundles are often overlooked and later down the line, people may be willing to pay the premium just to get the packs. One tip, if you do decide to hold your products sealed, make sure to protect them from damage. ETB edges can scuff, tins can get dented, so keep your products in the original boxes it came in or stash them in acrylics. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on new sets, Pokemon news, and some random Pokemon stuff, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and check out our shop. Links in the description. We're collectors too, and we're here to help you build your dream collection without getting crushed by the market's chaos. Until next time, keep the passion alive and happy collecting. May the pulls be with you.